everybody. Welcome to Monday Morning Messages. I'm Candace Smith, and I'm here again. Wow, on a Monday, a time and day that I chose of my own free will. So, hope you're having I don't even know, have you started your day yet? Maybe not. And now I'm starting mine. A great week. It was cold and rainy, I'm pretty sure, and then we had some sun this weekend. So, things started looking up. Um, and then the craziest part was like it was so beautiful, and then my son was supposed to be home at a certain time, and he wasn't. So I was like, okay, you can't go outside and play yesterday, which really punishes everyone. Let's be honest, because then he's inside with all this energy, and I'm inside wishing that I had a little bit of space to get things done. And instead, I had some valuable bonding time with my child. So try to look at the bright side, right? Today's message is something that I never know what I'm talking about. I'm not like in general, like I don't know what I'm talking about, which could be the case, but I usually don't know what the topic or subject will be. Maybe I still don't, but I'll go with it anyway. So today is about families, and whether you'd like to hear about that or not, I guess depends on, you know, you going to watch something else. I don't know. But it's actually something like that I thought about, but I really didn't want to talk about. So I felt like then that's probably something you should. And maybe that's just the part of me that kind of, has that energy of like what's out there. And if I feel this way, then maybe other people do too, or just have those feelings in general. So if you have like the perfect family and dynamic, then maybe you could just listen and check the boxes to be like, yeah, I do have an amazing family. And when I say perfect, I don't mean like literally that there's a formula. I just mean like that it works for you. So even if you all scream at each other and get your feelings out and, whatever that entails, but everyone's happy and respectful, then, whatever works for you. So it's not to mean that there's some dynamic that is the same for everyone. It just means that if you're happy and you feel like you're respected, then it's probably a pretty good scenario. So the first thing that I was thinking about is that if people that are your family or that you consider family, that if there is any abuse or neglect or manipulation or anything like that, then you should not be involved in those kinds of situations. So we do get caught up in thinking like this is my family, I need to stick it out, and you know them better than a lot of people, so you can excuse me, a lot of times see them as they were or as they can be. And of course, we can carry those into other relationships, but family makes it really difficult, right? So, if that's the case, you may give them the space that they need to heal. It doesn't mean that it's forever, and it doesn't mean that you don't love them. It just means that there's more time that they need um, to maybe, I don't know, let's say like change some of those things. But if they're not respectful of your boundaries and your beliefs, then it may be a chance for you just to give them that space. So it's not really coming from a place of judgment. It doesn't mean that they're wrong or they're bad or that, that it's forever. It just means not right now. That's all it means. And it could be 5 minutes, it could be a day, it could be 10 years. I mean, whatever that is, it just needs to be healthy. And the so if that's the case, please make sure that you have set yourself those boundaries, and and that you can recognize the kind of behavior that you wouldn't accept from like a partner, like a relationship or a friend or a boss or anyone outside of them that you would go, I would never put up a being treated like that, but it's my XYZ. That kind of treatment is not acceptable regardless of that. So, and of course, you know what your tolerance is and what your boundaries are. So Just try to remember to respect those. And second of all is, second of all, I don't know how many there are. That's kind of funny. Second of all. So just second. Um, is we're always changing. So, you know, so much about our lives is constantly changing. And this would just be like in general. I mean, our diet, our age, our friends, the material that we read, the TV that we um, choose to watch, having kids, having pets, having any sort of conditions, physically, if we're on medication or we're not, or the friends that we have, the jobs that we have, moving, life experiences. So, people that are in your family are changing just as much as you are, but you might not recognize it. So, in that sense, yes, if it's extreme, then you should give someone the space to heal and, make you can still be there for them and check in. Second would be, um, that you sort of give them that sort of space and grace that they are changing. And those would hopefully be in more positive ways that you would perceive at least. But, it's still true. And they're not necessarily going to be able to verbalize, like, oh, here's all the new things about me that you don't know. Especially if you've known them for a very long time or since they were little or they're your parents or whatever it is. People don't always, one, even recognize how they've changed. And if they do, then it's not always in the ways that they say it is, or if they say it doesn't have an impact, I changed this, but, it doesn't make me any different. It can, and you're different. So I think there's sort of an underlying theme with the fact that we do give people a chance to be like, oh, well, he used to be this way and now he's this way. It's like, well, you are too, probably, used to be that way and now you're this way. It would be crazy if we didn't change. That's what we do. And usually it's for the better. We're trying to do better. We're trying to get a better job or, um, be around people that support us and better sleep habits and better diets and better environments for ourselves and our children. And, um, we're always striving to do what we think is best for us. So, for the most part, I think that people aren't doing things intentionally. And so, if we can give them some of that space to say, you know what, they're different, even if they're not saying it, or even if they are, it's going to be different for everybody. So give them the space to grow and learn new things and try them out, just like you would want that same respect. Because maybe it is, I don't know, something different that they're trying a new diet or it's new music or all of a sudden they want to travel or they don't want to leave the house. It's like, okay, well, this is who you are now. So if genuinely their heart is in a place that feels like it's loving and respectful, then those are just things that they're trying out. And whether you perceive it as a mistake, mistake, this is why it's early, a mistake or not, then it's not going to really matter because it's their life to experience. So just you being supporting and holding that space for them is all you could really ask for because I think you would want that from them as well. And that's how we tend to think about things, right? What would I want if I was in that situation? The other thing I thought about was, if you're not in a place where you're, completely in love with each other and you see each other every day and you have lunch and you finish each other's sentences and you buy each other the right sweater for a holiday and, they got you a puppy and it's great and you take car rides, then if that is not the case for you and you don't see your family very often, then it's interesting because you don't get the chance to know them. So it's kind of twofold, like you're not close to them and then you want to maintain that closeness, but maybe you don't always um, talk to them and that you're able to uh, I guess get to know them as much as you would like to. That's what they always say, right? The more time you spend with someone, the more you get to know them and the more likely it is that you'll be able to maintain stronger relationships. So just check in. And even if you're not in the daily whatever it is that says, I know your favorite this, and you go walking on Tuesdays, or, you get off work at 5:30, whatever information that is that would make you feel closer to someone, you can still just check in and say, hey, I love you, I'm thinking about you. It is a very easy thing to do. And I think that if you can make a conscious effort just to do that without any attachment to it of, why don't we do this, or why can't I say, or, how is this going to work? Those small check-ins are really meaningful for people. I don't think that they, at least I don't, take them lightly. But sometimes it can seem so small and you feel like it might be disingenuous, that it's not worth it just to say, hey, I'm thinking about you. And it really means a lot. Like I said, at least for me, and from what I've seen from my family reacting to it, or my friends that have family that take the time to do that, it just gives someone pause in their day to say, yes, I recognize this, and I remember the bond that we have, or the relationship that we have, and that's great. And when things are better or they're different, then those choices will be made to continue to grow that relationship. But if you don't take the time to do some of those, what you might consider smaller acts, then it's going to be more difficult over time, when it's been 6 months or a year or longer, to maintain that connection and just be like, hey, even if you know one or two more things about them than you would have in a year, it's still going to be a jumping board, and very helpful for you to be able to at least have that connection, for them to say, yes, I know that you've checked in on me, and I hope you're doing okay. And I know there's a thought around, like, you're not always supposed to say, if you need anything, let me know. Because it's like, you're supposed to be specific and say, do you want to go to lunch on Tuesday at 2? But I think there's so much uncertainty right now that maybe we can't be as assertive as we would like to be, or make the plans that we would like to make. So even if you're telling people, like, hey, I was going to do this, but because of, you know, the choices in my life that are best for me, I don't I don't feel like it's an option right now. But if things were different, here's what I would be doing or saying or planning or anything like that. And I think that still means a lot too. At least means that you're thinking about them and considering those things, and that when your circumstances are different, then you may be able to make those choices. So don't let the small things that, the small kind of acts of kindness that you might just sort of dismiss, don't let those go by, because they can be very important for someone. And it could really, make their day. Also, maybe send them a little pic or something. Again, if you're not like the closest, then just something every now and again. Pictures really do convey a lot of information. So, um, the smallest thing. Here's us on a walk. Here's what we have for dinner. Just something to, again, kind of include that connection, give them more information. And sometimes you feel like, well, I don't want them, to know about my life, and in some circumstances. So you can still go with the check in. But even some things are, pretty harmless, as far as, you know, here's what we did today. So I think that's pretty much it. I don't really have any more information around that. So if you were able to check all the boxes, that you have an amazing family dynamic and relationship, congratulations. If you don't, maybe some of these things were at least a little bit thought provoking. You know, you're still the most important person that you need to take care of. So that is the priority. So these are things that you can do when you have the energy, if you're nourished, if you're taken care of, unless you're actually reaching out to them for help, then that's the priority. Then it would be, okay, here's the way I deserve to be treated. Then it's giving people grace for, okay, you're always changing, I'm always changing, especially with, I mean, just the current environment, right? Everything's completely different. So, and then, just that those small connections that you can maintain over, weeks or months, that really make up a big difference, especially while we're not able to see people. Oh, and pop a card in the mail. I love it. Who doesn't like to get mail that's not a bill? And I don't even know if you get those anymore. Who likes to get mail that's not a Valpak? Um, Coupon flyer for Arby's. I think that's the one we always get. And blinds and home renovation. I think those are the ones that we get. So yeah, who doesn't want to get a handwritten note from someone that's not a flyer? Or like gutter cleaners. Those are usually in the little flag on the side of the mailbox where they um, get soggy from the rain and then stick inside there. So it's like I'm not calling that company. Or the one that's on the front that also like falls into the mud underneath the mailbox. Usually that's for takeout. So yeah, put a little note in the mail. It's something that can make a big difference. And that again, if you would like it, then they would too. So that was it. Check in and see how you feel, and if any of those things resonate, amazing. Otherwise, have a great week. Work your week, don't work this week, and we will connect again next week. Have a great day.